Hey guys, welcome back to ARTV, your guide to current events within the aesthetic industry. As always, I'm your host, Vivienne Echendu, the vendor relations specialist here at Aesthetic Record. Thanks for tuning back into another exciting episode where we continue supporting small businesses that are doing big things. And today we are fortunate not just to have one guest speaker, but two, Reggie Gatewood and Chad Reggie, two biotech industry experts who co-founded MD Pharma. Reggie has decades of experience in commercial sales, marketing, and spearheading science-based solutions for healthcare providers. As a certified life coach, Reggie has had a passion for serving others. And in our second corner is Chad. He's held executive level management roles in the biopharmaceutical and medical device industry. His depth of leadership and commitment to the community is evident in his current position as the president of the Lovejoy School Board of Trustees since 2016. Reggie and Chad, thank you so much for joining. Please help our viewers get to know a little bit more about you.
Vivienne, thank you so much for that great introduction. We're so excited to be with you. MD Pharma is an exciting place to be right now in an exciting, innovative market. So to share a little bit about Reggie and I, we certainly have expertise in aesthetics, dermatology, the plastic surgery space, and wellness. We have over 50 years of leadership in pharmaceuticals and the medical device industries at large companies like Sanofi, Stryker, Galderma, plus some startups. And our C-level experience at the executive level in general management and operations, buy and bill sales, marketing, medical research, and specifically physician education, which is really important in this CBD market. We're really passionate about launching innovative solutions into the marketplace, and we've done that for several years. And we've had an opportunity and been very fortunate to build billion-dollar brands, billion-dollar plus divisions and companies, and we're excited to introduce MD Pharma to you today.
What inspired the two of you to come up with MD Pharma?
Vivienne, that's a great question. I'll go back to being passionate about something. One thing that we know is the realities of the current CBD marketplace today. One, there's a lack of involvement with healthcare professionals. They're not currently seen as the patient go-to when it comes to choosing the right CBD in the marketplace today. And also there's significant inconsistencies in the manufacturing and quality of the products that you find on the marketplace. Whether that's at a retail store shelf level or online, it's really the Wild West. And so we wanted to create something that was different and unique and centered specifically around the healthcare provider, in really tackling it from our vantage point and expertise in the pharma and medical device space. And so really what it did, Vivienne, it led to the MD Pharma promise, which is really to become the most trusted and recommended seed to you clinical CBD company in the eyes of physicians, clinicians, and healthcare professionals. We wanted to improve patient lives. We wanted to bring the most relevant, the safest and highest quality clinical CBD to the marketplace, and where we own everything from seed to you, which means that we own all aspects of the supply chain, from the farming, manufacturing, and extraction process, which actually takes place at the highest standards at our FDA regulated facility. And we wanted to do it different by bringing CBD specifically to the healthcare provider. We will distribute safe, effective, clinically superior CBD products directly into your office for you to sell and retail to your patients. And so it's a great combination of things that have helped lead us to this spot. We will not be a retail shelf product and brand. We will do everything exclusively through the healthcare provider in your clinic so that you own that patient and the patient life, hopefully from their CBD experiences, from you to them. So we're excited about that. And that's really why we brought MD Pharma to the market and this brand. We think it's special, and we think it's going to be a huge add-on opportunity, even from an income standpoint, for each of your clinics. If you could double-digit growth in your revenue by adding a product like MD Pharma's brands to your regimen, it's a no-brainer in my mind. But we're really excited to partner with this community.
Yeah, Chad, you said it well. So it's all in our name, right? So we're called MD Pharma for a reason. We're putting the health provider and the medical provider first in this very important conversation about something that you'll hear from us today that's not a fad. This is not a fad, it's a fact now with CBD. And so we're going to raise the game. Looking forward to it.
Reggie, I just adding on to that, even the education piece is important to us. And that's one thing that's missing right now in the CBD market. Patients are a little confused, healthcare providers are confused, and we have solutions for that through our CBD Sure certification program, where your clinic can be certified and have great knowledge so you can be the expert in the eyes of your patients.
What is CBD? Where does it come from? And what made the two of you decide to own the entire supply chain process for producing CBD?
So, Vivienne, I'll start with that. Chad, if you don't mind, I'll start with that. So,
yeah, absolutely.
CBD is short for cannabidiol, which when you hear that word, it's probably no surprise as to why we're all happy it just goes by CBD, right? In the marketplace. So it's a naturally occurring substance, right? It's a plant. It's plant derived. It's been used for hundreds of years in medicine, and it's derived from what we'll talk about today is derived from hemp. It can also be derived from the marijuana plant. But the reason why we're going to focus on hemp-derived CBD is because to clarify any possible confusion, we're saying, look, what makes ours different is that it's derived from hemp, which means it's going to have little to no THC in nature. Now, what that means for our CBD is that we take it an extra step through the process that we're going to get into in a little bit around our state-of-the-art facility and extraction process, and we take out any traceable amounts of THC. We want 0%, 0.0% THC, and that's what we have in every bottle any product that we offer will have guaranteed no THC, and we offer transparency with that because on every bottle or every product, each patient or each consumer or every healthcare provider can go on and look through a QR code or online with tracking the bottle and see the certificate of authenticity for every product that we have that shows not just 0% THC, but also all of the natural ingredients. Whatever we say is in our bottle, we guarantee that that's what's in it. And that's important for the process that you outlined, Vivienne, because Chad's mentioned a couple of times, we use an FDA approved facility. And so from seed to solution, whether it's planting, cultivation, or harvesting, those who are in control of that supply chain, it's absolutely critical for the safety and the quality and the effectiveness of the end product. And we'll get into some of the dangers that are out there and some of the, the gimmicks, the marketing gimmicks that create all of these myths that we have with CBD. But we take control of the process from the beginning at this facility that is non-GMO, it's kosher certified, it's eco-friendly, right? And so there's absolute sustainability, but also we give you confidence and trust that what you're getting is the absolute best that's out there.
Many of us have been exposed to lots of information and, of course, misinformation about the safety and the efficacy of CBD. Can you walk us through dispelling the top 3 myths about CBD? CBD is promoted as a safer form of THC, but in reality, they're the exact same thing.
So at MD Pharma, what we believe is education is as important as quality and safety, right? And that's a key reason as to why, because the reason why we have myths is because there's a lack of awareness or education about it. So we hope to fix that. So let's tackle that one. That's pretty easy, actually. So CBD and THC even though they're cousins from the same plant or can be, they're very, very different. Matter of fact, THC is almost the opposite of the CBD because that's the one that gives you that the high that's associated with marijuana, right? And so that's the one that also has the most stigma associated with it because that's the component that has that psychotic or that psychiatric effect that you get with marijuana. So CBD, however, is typically used when used alone. It's typically just used for the therapeutic effects without the intoxicating high. So whenever you engage the endocannabinoid system, which by the way, we encourage you to go to our website and check at themdpharma.com and check out some of the educational opportunities we have that looks at what is the endocannabinoid system and why is that important? Because we all have one, and that's really all about bringing balance back to the body in a multitude of different therapeutic areas. We focus on the CBD therapeutic properties for the endocannabinoid system versus THC. Even though there is a field for studies in THC alone, that's not our strength, and that's not what we bring to the game here. So that's how, hopefully we can help separate those two things because they're very different and clarify that myth.
CBD is a Schedule I narcotic. There's no credible research on neither its safety nor its efficacy.
This one could be where there's the most confusion, right? Because medical cannabis is a Schedule I narcotic. And this is where, once again, CBD is hanging around with THC in most people's minds. So it's almost guilty by association, right? And so the reality is, if medical cannabis with THC is lumped in as a Schedule I narcotic, it's because of the effects of THC. So what we said before is our CBD has 0 THC. So where we separate ourselves from that classification is that we have no intoxicating effects, and hemp's been legal since 2018. And that's just something that federal legislation and regulation is still very much in flux with what each state says. And so we encourage folks to, to make sure they educate themselves on their state. But by and large, our THC-free CBD is available everywhere. And we believe in the CBD industry, we believe this is, this will change because it's about to get even more interest from big pharma, which is a very good thing, which we can talk about in more detail.
CBD just does not work. I've tried it before. It's nothing more than a marketing gimmick.
This one's the most tragic myth of them all. So there's ones that are caused by natural confusion where education can help. And this one sadly can be caused by what the FDA refers to as bad actors in the field, right? So there are corner stores, there are gas stations that sell CBD, and they make claims that they can't back up, and they put things in the product that aren't detected until you test it, right? So by making false claims, by mislabeling their product, by misleading the end user through some of the gimmicks that you referenced, and by being, bad actors, it's sad because the end user can be very confused, but more importantly, they can be harmed. So University of Pennsylvania actually published a study in JAMA where they looked at 80 different products from 34 companies, and what they found was 70% of what's out there is actually mislabeled, which can be just downright dangerous, right? So if someone thinks that they're getting CBD, but they're not, but they're getting THC, which they didn't think they were supposed to, you can see where that naturally can be not just unfortunate, but dangerous. And that's another reason why we're trying to bring credibility back to what we believe is absolutely a viable therapeutic option with CBD, but it's got to be pure. It's got to be of high quality. And we'll guarantee everything that's in each one of our products, because you'll see our certificate of authenticity for every single thing that's in there, including things that aren't in there, which you will not find leads, toxins, and other derivatives that can be harmful.
What kind of preservatives do you use in your formulations?
The only thing you'll find that will have any will be our CBD cream, which are all naturally derived. Everything else, simplicity is key. With CBD, if you've got high quality clinical CBD, we've learned if it's very high quality, then we need to just kind of get out of the way of the therapeutic CBD itself and let it work.
With the CBD market growing in leaps and bounds, this is clearly bigger than just the latest trend. Reggie, you even mentioned navigating from fad to facts. So why exactly should aesthetic professionals and other healthcare practitioners take the CBD market more seriously?
Vivienne, that's a great question. It's something that really excites us about this marketplace. One, there's significant momentum, right? So in 2018, the Farm Bill was passed, which allowed hemp growing all over the country. And then you saw the surge, if you will, of hemp CBD derived products all over the marketplace, whether it's retail shelves or online. So that's a good thing. However, that market really bypassed the healthcare provider area. And so that's something that what we have seen and the work that we have done, the due diligence, coming from our background, we understand all of the research that is going on right now in CBD specifically. So Reggie, I think, mentioned some of that around the pharmaceutical industry. So the pharmaceutical industry, they don't chase fads, we chase science. And with that, there are hundreds of FDA-approved trials going on right now from big pharmaceutical companies, and you will know the names. And Reggie and I have worked specifically on a brand specific to one of those pharmaceutical companies. And so with all that research, there's also right now over 600 peer-reviewed trials that have either taken place or taking place today that you will start to see as a clinician. You're going to start to see more and more of this research out there. What Reggie and I will do with MD Pharma is help funnel that. So in the aesthetic space, we know the endocannabinoid system, as Reggie had mentioned earlier, plays a huge role in our body. One of those is the inflammatory cascade, and where CBD can be beneficial in really helping the endocannabinoid system itself is something that you're going to see in the aesthetic space. So not to get too detailed and into the science here, but in the endocannabinoid system, you've got CB1 and CB2 receptor sites found all over the body. Some organs have CB1, some have CB2. The skin specifically has CB1 and 2. And so that is an opportunity to really influx and some impact on the inflammation cascade, both from a systemic standpoint through our oral products and also topically. And so whether it's acute or chronic problems, so I think about even in the aesthetic space, you're doing a procedure and you really want to calm that area, whether it's bruising, redness, swelling. A CBD may be an opportunity to impact that endocannabinoid system in a way to help to really get that patient from point A to B much quicker. And so we're really excited about that. We're excited about all the research. And so it's, again, not a trend. It is a trend, but it's not a fad. And again, science will prove that out for sure. And we're excited to be able to share that with these clinicians that are viewing us today.
What is the difference between the CBD you can get from any corner store and the clinical CBD that's found in your MD Pharma proprietary formulation?
So we're extremely proud of our process, and it's a large investment, but we believe in order for us to get out in front of this clinical wave that's coming, as Chad mentioned, with over 150 trials from Big Pharma that have been started since June of 2018, we're going to take pride in leading the way, actually. So, our product is it's USA grown. It's from Colorado. It's frequently and rigorously third-party tested. That's part of what we talked about earlier. The problem that's out there, 70% of the product that's out there that's in the Wild West, it isn't rigorously third-party tested. We mentioned it multiple times. We have clinical grade, right? So our trademark clinical CBD is manufactured and processed and extracted in an FDA-approved facility with all of the certifications that we've discussed, which gives you that consistency that we've been talking about all along. And all that does, Vivienne, is it leads to predictable efficacy and safety. And especially if you're going to make a claim about being THC free, not having any THC or that component that can get you high. And also for those who can't take THC, who are employed and have to frequently undergo drug testing, that's a big deal. And there are plenty of stories out there of folks having their livelihood interrupted because they thought they were taking a THC free CBD and they weren't. So we control that process. And then something we haven't discussed, but we'll be glad to answer any other questions around once folks see this and engage the company, is that we invest heavily in nanotechnology. And so the CBD in our clinical soft gels, it's got superior quality because we invest in nano emulsification, which gets it down to as low as 4 nanometers. So that's 1 million times smaller than an ant, which is a fun fact for the day. But what that means is it's 200 times smaller than the industry standard. Okay, so what's normally out there is absorbed somewhere between 15 to 25%. In our soft gels, you'll have more than 50% absorption, which leads to more predictable dosing, and even some cases, a lower dose necessary. So that's part of our process. That's part of what the end product is. So while we were talking about just the facility and the quality and the safety that leads to the effectiveness, that we take that very seriously. And I think, as Chad mentioned before, we package that with education so that all of the things that we're saying today, if you leave here thinking, well, I wish I could remember some of the things that we talked about, and I've been curious about CBD, hey, we got you, right? So we've got educational materials that we will make available for you that are static or they're interactive, and you'll be able to have that as well as marketing assistance from us and in-house pull-through.
How does nanotechnology improve the stability of the ingredients in your formulation?
So everything we're talking about today, all of our products are, you're going to give you 18 months shelf life, right? So that's important to know. And that's something that we know from the clientele that are going to be watching this, that's important to them as well, right? And so if you're going to carry an inventory, you want it to be stable as long as possible. What we know about the soft gels is that technology will stay stable with CBD in that form for at least 18 months. Where we're still waiting and we're still on the cusp of what's next is nanotechnology that has remained stable for more than 3 months in topical creams and also in drops. Now they're working on it, and as soon as they perfect that, you better believe we're going to have it, because that's what we believe is next.
Tell us about your amazing lineup of MD Pharma products and how each works to promote a better healing outcome pre and post procedure.
We want to keep it simple. As you get started in the clinical space, it's really important to keep things simple for both the clinician, the practice, and also the patient. But our 3 flagship products that we're bringing into the market right now, 2 are in the oral space. So Reggie already mentioned this, but our nanotechnology soft gels, an unbelievable product, systemic working, that really is something not just for acute setting, but also chronically, as a great alternative in the wellness around inflammation. In addition to that, we have what you typically may find in the marketplace today, which are droppers. And so our clinical CBD dropper is another great alternative. Though it doesn't absorb as well as the nanotechnology, it is another alternative in the oral space. And then we have an unbelievable product in our cream, our clinical CBD cream, which provides you in the vacuum pump, as you can see, which continues to help us keep the product stable. You have very predictable dosing. This is something that you typically find in the dermatology and skin space already. And so those 3 products are really our flagship products. Now, in addition to that, you're able to provide your patients a kit. So if you would like to purchase, or your patient would like to purchase a kit, which is a combination of either an oral and the cream, and it could be either of the orals. So if you have a patient that, maybe they're accustomed to CBD already and they like to use a dropper, then you're able to use that. They're able to use that and the cream, or vice versa. What we would say is there's a great opportunity to calm down whatever the field that you're going into as far as the aesthetic space. So if you want to calm that patient down beforehand and then also after, the kit is an unbelievable opportunity to do that, both systemically through our orals, but also through the cream and as a topical. Those products, again, what I find interesting, and Reggie and all the research, even in the dermatology space of chronic inflammation and skin disease that really is driven and around inflammation, these products are really, I think they're going to be on the forefront of what you'll see even on the chronic side of things, outside of just the procedures. And so again, we're really excited about bringing these products through our Derma Kit, the clinical CBD Derma Kit, which is an opportunity for clinicians to leverage this clinical CBD.
Yeah, if I may add to that, Chad. So Vivienne, when we talk about calming an area down, what we're talking about is really inflammation, right? So we know through studies, when you engage the endocannabinoid system, which is part of the backbone of everything we talk about, is that you engage the inflammatory cascade. And there are more than enough studies that are looking specifically at across a variety of different therapeutic areas and diseases and symptoms, the dangers of inflammation. So while it's tempting, in the aesthetic space to just focus on the area that's being treated, we believe, based off of the science that we're bringing to the table here, and that it's really the base of what we believe in, is that if you treat inflammation systemically, and you've got in vivo CBD that's getting to a steady state, then that leaves you the flexibility to treat from a targeted measure with the CBD cream. So we're giving options, no matter the specialty, but especially in this space, to have an oral safe version that gives you an inflammatory response, something to treat the inflammatory response with the option of having a local therapy for the CBD cream. And that's having options is something that we found from our customer base and our multiple specialties, that they love having options when it comes to treating patients with CBD.
Yeah, Reggie, I would completely agree with that. And what we know is this fits right into the patient flow. This is the protocol. So as part of the procedure in the aesthetic space, this fits in so nicely into the current protocols of helping reduce that inflammation pre and post, which is a really nice added benefit, both for the patient, but again, also the clinic.
Speaking of reducing an inflammatory response, how does CBD compare to prescription or over-the-counter drugs?
You can tiptoe on the edge of saying, hey, you should replace X with X, right, with CBD. And what we say is CBD, so we're not going to make claims about it being something that you should replace your current medication with. So one, that's why we're involving the healthcare provider, first and foremost. And two, it's typically used as adjunct therapy because it's looked at as a supplement, right? So even though this is important for healthcare providers out there, even though there's a consumer report survey that surveyed over 4,000 patients or users of CBD and got into why they were doing it, over half of them were doing it to replace either prescription opioids or things for pain or sleep, or over-the-counter things for pain or sleep or anxiety. And so even though we won't make a claim, and you'll see that on our label, we're very forthright about the claims that we're not going to make it, because that's part of the problem today, is that there are companies out there trying to claim that they cure things with CBD. That's not what we're saying. However, we know it's happening because the survey that I just referenced from Consumer Reports shows it loud and clear that when in doubt and when not having a conversation with a medical professional, patients will go out and try it anyway. And they are, and they're doing it in droves. And that's why we go back to, it's not a fad, it's a trend. And it comes back to, so if you're a healthcare provider, bring that conversation back to you and your patient, right? You and your client, because that's what we're going to make it easy to do. And that's why we could go the retail space. We could try an online store and sell it directly from us, but we're not doing that for this very reason.
Yeah, and let me add, going back to what we discussed around the research that's going on out there today. So there's significant research in skin. And so in some of those trials that are going on from the pharmaceutical industry itself, they are looking specifically at chronic skin disease. So while we're not saying that you should replace with MD Pharma's clinical CBD, replace prescriptions, I will say that there is significant research going on right now, whether it's acne, psoriasis, rosacea, and other inflammatory markers that you find on the skin. There's definitely research going on right now that are trialing CBD specifically against some of the gold standards that are used in those disease state areas around the skin.
That's right. So as that data becomes more readily available, we will be able to be much more forward with what we're saying. But in the meantime, to Chad's point, what we know is the endocannabinoid system is front and center in all of those areas.
Where can your products be purchased, and what is your commercial strategy for getting MD Pharma products to consumers?
I think it's important to note, Vivienne, that again, we are focused specifically on the healthcare provider and professionals. So that's where you can find our products. You won't find them online. You won't find us on a retail shelf. We are completely centered around the healthcare provider and professionals only. And that's where our distribution is going to be. Again, Reggie, I think, mentioned this, but the in-house marketing support, patient education, clinical education, the fact that we're involved with academic institutions and alliances, our volume discount pricing program for our clinics. And then, when we provide you education, in turn, your patients are going to become more educated. We want to focus our commercial strategy around the provider. And as being a healthcare professional, You understand the opportunity there to bring value to your patients. And we're in the business of helping provide that value to you as well. And so if you would like to be you're interested in MD Pharma products, you'll be able to reach us at our website, www.𝗕mdpharma.com. We'll also obviously have that here for you, but we'd love to be in contact with you. So Reggie, any other thoughts on how to get our products?
Well, you said it great, Chad. So there's a reason why we're going this channel, because we've had multiple opportunities to follow the herd, And so the reason why we're not, once again, is that we believe that the conversation needs to take place between the healthcare provider and the patient themselves. It's also critical whenever there's, this is in-office dispensing, and so whenever the patient leaves the office with an MD Pharma product, the first thing that we get asked is, so can they go back out into the wild and find that somewhere else if they want a follow-up, product or add to it? And we say, no, you can't. Actually, we want them to come back to you for any secondary or third or continuing treatment with our product, because we just want you to stay in that conversation in general. So that's something we haven't mentioned before. It's not something that others are doing, and believe me, we've audited the market a lot. And based off of our strengths, we believe that's what's going to make us different, but it's what we believe is the right thing to do.
And that's a wrap for this episode of ARTV. If you're an aesthetic record user, make sure to log into market.𝗕𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃record.com, where you can inquire about carrying your own MD Pharma products in your clinics today. If you are not an aesthetic record user but wish to join the AR family, make sure to visit 𝗕𝗃𝗃record.com, where our team is eager to chat with you. And if you're a small business doing big things and would like to be featured on our next episode, make sure to email me down below. I look forward to seeing you all very soon, but until then, stay safe and stay healthy.